Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're putting together a fall container using non-traditional colors. So you can see a very cool color theme going on here, pinks and purples, kind of some more bluish hues in the leaves of this cabbage right down here. But I've got some really interesting plant choices that whether or not you're using them in a container, they look really cool out in the landscape. Like this one right here, this is going to be our centerpiece. It's called a Proudberry coralberry. It's a beautiful shrub. It grows about like 4 to 5 feet tall and wide when you have it planted out in the sun somewhere, and they produce these beautiful clusters of pink berries in the fall, and they hold onto those berries for a really long time. So I thought it would make for a really interesting fall centerpiece because, you know, even after it loses its leaves, and it will take a while yet for that to happen, it'll be really deep into the autumn, you'll still be left with these pink berries on the end of each one of the stems. And then the other one that's really interesting here is the thuya. This is called a whipcord or Whipcord Arborvitae. And I wanted to use this one as a very interesting, neat texture as a spiller plant out the front, which in the landscape, they'll grow about 4 by 4. They're a zone 5 through 8, I believe. But I thought that those would be two plants that you don't normally see used. I don't normally use them in containers. The rest of these, though beautiful, they are used quite a lot. So mums and violas. We've got a heuchera called Dolce Wildberry, and then an ornamental cabbage. So this is a container that I chose. This is a tapered corten steel planter from Gardener's Supply. I got these earlier this spring. I planted one up with all shades of like red, yellow, orange. I think we labeled it like fire or something. I don't know. It's still growing away in our vegetable garden at the moment. So it's gonna look very, very different from this one. Totally different color scheme. It comes with plugs in the bottom, like there are 2 drain holes. Let me see if I can tip it to show you. There's 2 drain holes. You can leave the plugs in if you're going to be using this for something different, or take them out if you need drainage, which we do in this case. So let me fill it with soil and then we'll start planting. I hope I brought enough soil out. Oh, putting soil in fixes the echo. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but as I was talking, I could hear the echo of my voice coming back at me. Also, I don't think I mentioned this is a 17-inch diameter container. All full with soil, and I don't add any starter fertilizer or continuous release fertilizer in my fall containers because when you utilize fresh soil, it has nutrients in it, and these plants, like they are actively, you know, growing right now in terms of like they're blooming and they're, you know, productive, but they're going to start powering down as the temperatures start to lower, which they are. And so they just don't need all the nutrients that our summer containers typically do. All right, so I created a well here toward the back, and I'm going to put the centerpiece plant in first, which is our coralberry. Isn't that just so unique looking? Ugh, so pretty. Did I make my well big enough? I don't think I did. Hold on. I've got some soil that I tamped against the back so we make sure there's a barrier between the root ball of the plant and the side of the container. But I do want it to be snugged as far back as possible. Let's try this out. Whew. I think that's the front. Kind of like that maybe? Oh, I didn't center that, did I? Okay, hold on. Got to kind of dig it out and recenter it. I am the worst when it comes to spacing stuff and centering stuff. Like it's like I don't even pay attention to that detail until I've already done it. Okay, let's scoot it. Looks good from my angle. How about yours?
I don't know, you got this really errant branch over here.
Did I fix it?
Yes, you fixed
okay.
it.
If you guys ever put a whole planter together and then torn it apart because you didn't like it, because I seem to like find myself in that situation every once in a while, hoping, crossing my fingers that everything's going to go well today. Now we're going to put the mum in on this side because you can kind of see, like I can even tell from back here, this side is a little bit more thick. This side needs a little bit of something right here. This is called Grapeberry Purple. Isn't that gorgeous? It's huge. Honestly, like I probably wouldn't need this. This is a 6-inch size container. I could have probably bought one of the smaller size, but I don't know. I saw it and I just had to have this one. It was so pretty. I'm gonna kind of squeeze its root system a little bit so that it fits right in here nicely. Tuck it in. Make sure there's soil around all sides of the root ball. Now I'm gonna go in with this cabbage. This is called Osaka Red. Always nice to have some 4-inchers hanging out. And I think I'll be able to tuck this one in right underneath, kind of popping out like that. How's it looking?
It's great.
You like the color combination?
Yeah.
Might even have room for a pansy in there. Let's just try. Let's try one right up front. This is not a pansy. It's a viola called Gem Plum Antique. I love this one because it gives you the pink, but with that kind of yellowish orange apricot kind of center. It gives you that very autumn kind of vibe. See? Perfect. Now we're gonna go in with the whipcord. Isn't that the coolest texture ever? I just think that's so, so neat. These sell out in like less than a day when they arrive at the garden center in the spring. In fact, I think I bought this beginning of March this year and I missed out. Like this was the last one left. I didn't get down there fast enough, and whenever the load of specimen evergreens arrives, usually a post goes out on Facebook and people run down, and I keep telling my mom, you gotta order more of these. He's got to order more. I was kind of hoping to get 2 of them this year, and I was thankful to get the 1, honestly. Okay.
There's a tag in the front.
Oh, is there? Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, look at that. Cool. Okay, we're gonna do some manipulating so we can see the viola still. And I am putting a lot of plants in this container. If you just watched our last fall container arrangement, I kind of explained that because I use a lot of plants in that one too, and I explained that in fall containers, because they're not putting on much growth, you can really jam a lot of stuff together because they just don't need the space. You know, I plan to use, like this is a perennial mum, perennial, the heuchera is a perennial. The only thing I probably won't keep out of this arrangement are the viola and the cabbage, which is kind of nuts. I mean, when you look at the cost of these plants, you know, sometimes it can get overwhelming and you think, oh my goodness, that adds up to a lot. But when you're using them again out in the landscape, it really, I don't know, it doesn't seem as hard to, what's going on over here? Oh, a squirrel. So there's a squirrel jumping around in the canopy of this redbud tree right behind me, and Russell is watching it intently from the ground. And I completely can't remember where I was at. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this heuchera in, and then I think we're gonna have it completely packed out. I don't think I'll be able to fit anything else. Oh, it really is nice that this one wasn't heavily rooted. It wasn't root bound in its pot, so it's really easy to remove some of this loose soil right here. So I'll be able to squeeze it in really easily. Just a few dried up leaves around the base there. Okay. Oh, look at that. I really want to see it from the front. I think I need to twist it though. It's got some blooms left on it, which is amazing. They're fresh blooms. Kind of want those positioned just so. I think it turned out really pretty, you guys. I love the mix of texture and color. The fact that there's 2 very, very bold plants in here, the heuchera and the mum, and they're kind of separated in the pot enough, and it just, I don't know, I think it really works. I really love it. I always tend to put together at least one cool themed container every single fall because I just want to practice at it. A lot of times, like the rest of my fall containers do take on a very fall vibe with all the fall colors. So it's fun just to do at least one, or I don't know, a few of these every single season. Now in terms of wintering over perennials and shrubs and evergreens in containers, a few rules of thumb. If you're planning on doing that, the best thing you can do is choose varieties that are rated for 2 zones colder than your current growing zone. So we've been moved to a zone 6, which means that I should choose things that are rated at a zone 4 or lower, just to give you that buffer. Doesn't mean I don't plant things that are rated for my zone. I mean, I've got boxwoods in containers and that are a zone 5 that have survived some really harsh winters here. But I do think that where you have them placed also makes a difference. So if you can put them somewhere protected up against the south side of your house, if you can even put up one of those pop-up little greenhouses to provide a little bit of extra insulation for your containers, that's awesome. If they are shrubs or perennials that lose all their leaves and they're cut back for the winter, you can put them in a garage or a shed that's either, maybe it can't be heated, you don't want it anywhere that's got any heat, but somewhere that is just a little bit more protected from outside. Keep in mind that evergreens do still need light. So like this one, I couldn't shove in a dark place and expect this to thrive, but the other ones aren't absorbing sunlight like the evergreens do during the winter time. You also cannot let them dry out. And I know it's the last thing on your brain when you're going through a hard winter or whatever, and it just, you're not thinking about taking care of plants outside. Even when there's snow on the ground, you do need to make sure that the root balls do not completely dry out. So what I do is I set an alarm on my phone to go off every 2 weeks, and then I run around, splash a little bit of water on my plants. Now we live in a fairly dry climate, and we get a lot of wind. So it may be different from you. If you live somewhere that you're getting a lot of precipitation, a lot of snow, and maybe the snow is melting and you get more snow and that sort of thing. I mean, you just have to gauge by look too. Like if the root ball looks really wet, then you don't have to probably worry about it, but it's something good to just continually check on throughout the winter months. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, seeing just a few like kind of unusual plants being used. It's always fun to kind of try out different things, experiment with different plants. It makes it fun and keeps it interesting. So thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.